compared to a Republican in 1970, Bush and Trump and Biden are both excessively liberal. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're both extremely liberal.
Yeah, they both support gay marriage, for example.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. So
let's get a little controversial then. I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
I've ran for office as a Republican. Yeah. I plan on supporting Trump this time.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of the guy, but I prefer him over Biden.
Of course. I don't think anybody, I think most Democrats prefer him over Biden, however, even though they wouldn't vote for him. Yeah.
Let me ask your opinion first. Do you think the 2020 election was stolen?
The problem is this: the Democrats or the Republicans got 15 seats in the House and the Senate during that same election that was apparently stolen. And here's the other thing: if Trump wins, then can you really say the election was stolen? That's the problem. So
I'm asking you a simple question.
No, I don't think it was stolen.
The problem is a lot of people do.
Yeah, the preponderance of evidence would show me that it's not stolen.
And it's not a small distribution.
No, of course.
Unfortunately, in my party, a lot of people believe this.
Yeah.
And it's handicapping our plans to be able to beat the Democrats.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And the issue is, this is not a small portion of distribution of the curve. This is a big part of the curve, especially in the Republican primary that a candidate would have to win. And I think a lot of the issue is because of technology and access to information.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. You're saying the misinformation. So here's a couple things. I try to have a logical conversation with people. I think Trump beats Biden in a vacuum. What happened was a couple things that he did wrong. Number one, that whole thing in Charlottesville when white nationalists came there and one of them ran through a group of people and he goes, "Yeah, there were bad people on both sides." And I was like, Mr. President, that lady who was flying through the air, I don't think she was a bad person. I don't really think she did anything to deserve that. But he couldn't say the words because he understands. I don't think Donald Trump's a racist, but I don't
think so either.
But I think he knows that racists do follow him and they follow him more than they follow Biden. And I think that's part of the issue. And so he didn't say what he needed to say. Do you remember when those children were being separated from their parents at the border? Do you remember? And all he had to do was say, "Hey, listen, this is fucked up. We need to we need to control immigration, but these kids didn't do shit wrong. So let's figure out a way to solve this." And he did nothing to do that. And he just the problem is you're the president. You're the incumbent president. If you're the incumbent president, do you speak to the radical base of your organization or do you come to the middle? You're trying to win a general election, and he didn't do that. That's why I think he lost.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But another controversial question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. What do you prefer for the Republican primary nomination?
I mean,
if you haven't made up your mind, you can just say you haven't. That's fine.
To me, the thing is, so I don't have a problem. So here's what's going to happen with DeSantis. A lot of people don't realize this. So DeSantis was an attorney at Guantanamo Bay when they were using enhanced interrogations, and they're going to use that against him in the elections. Nobody's really talked about this.
In the primary or the general?
I think in the primary they're going to
in the primary they would use that against him.
Actually no, in the general election.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Most Republicans are not going to have
primary. You don't have to answer this question if you don't do. Like, who do you prefer? Who's your guy in the primary?
I don't know enough about DeSantis.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
debates haven't started yet.
Yeah, I'd have to see. What I do hear popularly is that Trump is just going to bully him because DeSantis is not a great speaker. But I don't know. I really don't know. What I do know is that
think's going to win.
What I do know is they're both triple vaccinated. I want to see how that fucking works out with these fucking loonies in Florida.
Yeah, how is anybody going to vote for them if they're triple vaccinated?
I want to see how that works.
Okay, who you want is different than who you think is going to win. Who you think is going to win it?
I really do like the way DeSantis got his state running again. I really do like that. I also like the fact that DeSantis called out. He defended Trump when they raided his house. I found that to me, I don't know what the truth is, but I found that to be a really honorable move.
You think he'll win?
I don't know if he'll win. I think I probably prefer him over Donald Trump. The only reason is Donald Trump would say things about the military and he would say things about economics where I was like, dude, I know people who are pit traders who are smarter than you. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? That was the only issue that I had. I don't have a problem with the fact that he fucked a porn star while his wife was pregnant. I think most Republicans don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with the fact that like he was dumb enough to like let his attorney pay a fucking hooker with like campaign funds. That's like 1982 shit. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like, I kind of wish he hadn't have done that. And I just don't know if we're going to get all that drama with DeSantis. So that's the only reason why I would say that. I just don't think Biden is viable in any way whatsoever. I just don't know how, as a Democrat, you can look anyone in the eye and just say that this man, who clearly physically is failing, could do so. Like, would be able to be our president. I just don't think it makes any sense.
Here's the thing: they're not going in there voting for Biden. They're going in there to
vote against Trump. Yeah. And I do.
I mean, Democrats can put dog shit on the ballot and they'll still win against Trump at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, man. I don't know. I just feel like we could have done better. I just feel like there's a 4-star general out there who's like run a company and has never done any drugs and never cheated on his wife. And this guy I could run for president. Like, I just want a president who, like, I feel like legitimately would grab a shotgun and go protect his family. And I don't feel like any of these three guys would.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest with you. I want a guy who literally, it is the difference between King Xerxes and King Leonidas from the Battle of Thermopylae, right? 483 BC, the 300, the movie 300 with Gerard Butler. King Xerxes was standing on his slaves. He got a slave army, a massive slave army to fight for him, and they were getting slaughtered. King Leonidas, when there was a tent to be built, he was the man to build the tent. Anytime there was action to be taken, he was the one taking the action. He led from the front. I don't see King Leonidas in any of these three men, and that's the only issue.
My dad being a Persian, I'm obligated to say I'm glad we kill every 300.
Yeah, but
didn't have a good fight, but we killed every single one of them.
Didn't work out well the next year, though, did it? No, didn't work out that well. But the point is, like, when you talk about that, like, we have 330 million people in this country, and like these are the three I have to pick from, and I just feel like we could have done so much better.
Why do you think that is?
Populism. But we go back to the social media thing. I think it sorts itself out. Your point before was, is there too much information and there's too much chaff, which is causing the wrong people to get elected? Mm-hmm. Yes, but it's not super wrong. Like, we haven't elected Joseph Stalin. Like, we're not that level of wrong.
No, of course not. Like, one of the issues I find is with these three bad choices in general is that people don't vote in primary elections.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming you vote in primary election. You seem aware enough to be doing that.
Yeah, I've done it before, yeah.
Sergio, you vote in primary elections.
I missed this last one.
Yeah, I mean, people just want, like, they want
their life. I'm so sorry.
Now, when it comes in November, you're the problem. This is why very small percentage of people vote in the primaries, and then November comes along. These are your shitty choices.
No, I know.
At least you're taking accountability.
Yeah, I will be honest about it. Yeah, no, because you were bugging me about it like a couple months ago. Yeah,
we need to vote in primary elections.
Yeah, no, but that was definitely my fault for sure. But that's what everybody has to do. That's it. Especially my generation, like the younger guys, like the millennials. We're the ones that literally lack in everything when it comes to that stuff.
Of course.
Because we have no hope. And then if you look at Gen Z, they have absolutely no hope at all. And it's just it's like building up hope in the people again and making people actually believe in this shit again. Like, a lot of people don't believe in, like, this is what bothers me a lot, but because my solution-based mind instantly thinks, okay, I can get on my phone and nobody can even log into my bank account unless it's like verified by my face or some way. But we cannot do a whole voting system that is designed the exact same way. That's, one person's social security number tied to each one of them. Like, it's really messed up that we can't do this.
Let me help the audience here. You want to know? I'll tell you right now. Any politician who is against blockchain voting, you need to vote them out of office. Okay. Any politician, there is absolutely no logical reason for us to not be going into using biometrics and blockchain voting.
Can you define blockchain voting for the audience?
Oh, yeah. So basically the way it works is, normally if you and I were to do a transaction, let's just say you were selling me tickets to a concert, we would go maybe in front of an ATM machine so they could film it, and then they would see me giving you the money, right? And then you'd give me the tickets. Does that make sense? So we'd have a camera verifying it, right? And so you could have verification. And so there's different types of verification whenever you use a bank. When you use blockchain, there's millions of nodes that actually verify what the transaction that happened, and then they put it on a worldwide ledger. Mm-hmm. So just imagine you and me are doing this transaction, but 1 million people are watching us. Yeah. And when you come back later and be like, you didn't give me the money, everyone's like, dude, that's not even, there's no possibility that's true. We absolutely know he gave you the money. Mm-hmm. We have a record going all the way back to the first Bitcoin of 2009. Using blockchain for voting is unassailable that we should be doing this. Anyone who is again, if you want to know when you should vote your politicians out, anyone who is not 100% in favor of using blockchain for voting, you need to vote them out of office immediately. That means it means not only, like, some of them have probably good intentions, but what it means is they haven't kept up with the time, and they're not doing their due diligence as politicians to protect you as a constituent. They need to at least be informed enough, because if you do just minor, like, low level understanding of how blockchain works, you understand it is so much more. It's so much safer and more reliable than the current way of voting that we're doing now, where we have people go to these places on public schools, and they're just being harassed. They're being harassed by one political party or another, and they come out, and somebody who doesn't look like a Trump supporter walks up to them and be like, "Did you vote for Trump? Who did you vote for? I'm going to poll you. I'm going to ask you these questions," and there's just harassment all over the place. No, I think people should be able to vote on their phones. They should be able to. Here's my thumbprint.
Access.
Vote.
I think access and security will definitely increase turnout. However, it won't increase it to anywhere near to make a change, because the issue we have is that people don't vote in local stuff. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, but when you vote in local stuff, you can do it from your phone.
If it popped up on my phone on a Sunday morning, I would quickly do it.
Let me give you guys an example. The Republican primary, we had a 14% turnout in Frisco.
Jesus Christ.
Democrat primary is the same day, 14%.
Sure.
General election presidential, we have a 71% turnout. Now, that was 6 months in between the primary and the general. People didn't forget to go vote. They didn't have a car transportation. They just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Okay? People don't care. This is not about, I couldn't make it to the poll. I know Democrats want to make it sound like that, people just couldn't go because they couldn't get a ride.
Because they're working or something.
Or working or something. No, we don't get
when jobs let you off to do it.
We don't get a 60% drop from the primary to the general election because of access or security issue.
Yeah.
The problem is people don't give a fuck. They don't show up to the primary, and then you end up with these choices. And people say, well, I don't know when the election is. When you're driving around, you see signs. You may not know who the candidates are, but you know there's an election happening. The thing is, you didn't bother to go home and check what those signs were because you didn't give a fuck. Why didn't you give a fuck? Because life is pretty good in America.
Yeah.
Life is pretty good. When you go to a third world country, my dad is from Iran, you meet random strangers in the street, get in a taxi, first thing they talk about is politics. Why? Because life sucks. And when life sucks, you want to find out who the fuck is in charge. Here, people are not going to give a shit. And until things get really bad. And the problem is, how do we convince people to start voting before things get to that point?
Yeah.
I think one of the issues is, the people who run for president now are both comparatively moderate. You understand that in the 1950s, especially, I just finished the book, The Accommodation by Jim Schutz. It's about desegregation in Dallas in the 1950s and 60s. If compared to a Republican in 1970, Trump and Biden are both excessively liberal. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're both extremely liberal.
Yeah, they both support gay marriage, for example.
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. So in that case, like the Overton window is going to constantly swing to the left. One of the issues is we don't have the idea that Joe Biden, like Donald Trump, would be upset if one of his children brought a black person home and that Joe Biden wouldn't. That's ridiculous. Like they both went to really expensive schools. They've both been accused of sexual assault. They both made racist comments. Like there's no variety in who we're choosing from. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like anybody with some serious energy to want to change things becomes president. But to your point, here's the thing. Because of the three branches of government that we use on our state level and we also use in our federal level, it doesn't matter who we elect. They can't do that much damage. And I think one of the things is that I've noticed is when someone gets elected immediately once Biden was elected.
We're talking exclusively the executive branch.
Yeah, we can talk about the executive branch for like the city manager here in Dallas, right? We can talk about any of the executive branches because there's three branches of government in city, state, and federal. And when the founding fathers came up with this idea, the intent was the quagmire. The intent was if you have a really, really stupid person as president, there's only so much damage they can do. Yeah. And their stupidity can actually create a quorum against them so that they can do nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's what I loved about when I see how well our government actually works. So one of the things I was talking about is if Biden, remember when Biden was elected, if you watched any political commentary on the right, it was get ready for the recession. You guys remember that recession was supposed to happen? Remember when I tell you about the recession? You guys remember, hey, anybody want to look that we're 300 points away from all-time highs? That recession that was supposed to happen a couple of months ago. By the way, there will be a recession, but it won't be because people on YouTube were predicting
it's the business cycle.
Yeah, it's a normal business cycle, but that's the thing. Nobody knows anything. But as soon as he was elected, I heard that the Keystone Pipeline was going to get rid of all jobs, that inflation was going to be 200%, and that eventually, like, we were going to start World War III. And these things didn't happen. And my point was, no, the reason why is because if Biden was 10 times worse than he was, there's mechanisms in place to stop him. The Supreme Court, the judiciary, the fact that all budget items originate in the legislature that are in the House, right, not in the Senate. The fact that those things exist, and the fact that there's actually people who can block his appointments, etc., those things cause the president to operate within the certain confines. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think the beauty of the system, because people don't care, the beauty of the system is that it I know this sounds really inefficient because if you're a Republican, you just want Republican shit to happen, and if you're a Democrat, you just want Democrat shit to happen. But the fact of the matter is, like, you have to try so hard to actually get shit to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like a quorum, like something like the 13th Amendment, the 19th Amendment, something like that to happen. You need so much support in order to do that. And our founding fathers saw that. They understood that we can't have somebody just come in there by fiat and then just change all the rules. Does that make sense?
No, of course.
Also, like, the pushback that we're getting, like with certain, I don't want my daughter to go into a bathroom with a man. I'm sorry. That's a perception I have. I also don't think it's okay for a man to be wrestling with my daughter in high school wrestling. If my daughter wants to, like, these are things I believe. The states can still fight back. The fact that we're complaining about the president for doing that is one thing, but the fact that states still have the right to fight back, try this in Mexico, try this in Colombia, try this in Russia, try this in China. There's no pushing back.
Hey y'all, Sergio here. I just want to mention I've created a completely free guide that shows you exactly how I went from having low confidence and being painfully awkward around women to easily meeting and dating numerous high quality desirable women in real life without the use of any dating apps or social media. So if you're struggling to get out there, if you have approach anxiety or don't know what to say or how to interact with women to make them want you and are sick of using dating apps with low value girls that hundreds of other guys have been chatting with, click the link in the description below to grab your free guide right now. And if you want private mentorship with me personally to help guide you every step of the way in this process, check out my mentorship program in the description too. I would be happy to help you reach your dating goals and overcome any obstacle you may face. And trust me, if I can do it, you can do it too. I hope to see you soon. Peace out.